The ultimate definitive victory in a fractured family empire is never won by running away from the chaotic battlefield, but by completely mastering the rules of the game from within. For years, the global public analyzed the heavy, devastating fallout of the Jolie-Pitt separation through the narrow lens of physical and emotional distance. We watched the older brothers cut ties with sharp, protective walls of resentment, and we saw Knox hide himself in absolute, disciplined anonymity. But as the youngest generation of this historic family steps firmly into the light, it is the youngest daughter who has executed the most brilliant, strategic, and artistically profound move of all. Born in the ultra-luxury, heavily barricaded coastal enclave of Nice, France, alongside her twin brother Knox, Vivienne Marcheline Jolie-Pitt, was immediately labeled by the global press as the soft, delicate, and fragile princess of the family dynasty. She inherited the soft, ethereal, and classic features of her maternal grandmother, Marceline Bertrand, and the quiet, deeply observant gaze of a natural-born creator. Yet, while the world expected her to either become another shallow Hollywood starlet or a reclusive, traumatized shadow, Vivienne did something completely unprecedented in modern celebrity culture. At just 15 years old, she entered the cutthroat, hyper-competitive world of professional theater, conquered Broadway, and used her biological artistic birthright to rewrite her family's destiny. Today, we pull back the curtain on the incredible, strategic journey of Vivienne Jolie, the prodigy daughter who weaponized creativity, outsmarted the traditional celebrity pipeline, and quietly secured the ultimate emotional crown for her family. To truly and deeply understand the depth of Vivienne's unique position, one must look back at her early, instinctual relationship with the camera lens. Unlike her older siblings, who often displayed immense discomfort, defensive posture, or intense armor in front of the predatory paparazzi, Vivienne possessed a natural, calm, and grounded focus that felt almost cinematic from infancy. At just 4 years old, she made her official, historic silver screen debut in Disney's multi-million-dollar blockbuster Maleficent, playing the young Princess Aurora. This high-profile casting was not born out of generic Hollywood nepotism or a desire for publicity. It was born out of absolute biological necessity on set. During production, Angelina Jolie was transformed into a terrifying, dark fairy creature, complete with sharp, realistic prosthetic cheekbones, magnetic horns, and piercing, unnatural yellow eyes. Every single child actor who stepped onto the set froze in absolute terror, crying uncontrollably and refusing to look at her. The only child on the face of the earth who looked directly at that terrifying, monstrous figure recognized the loving mother hidden beneath the makeup, and ran into her arms with genuine, unscripted love was Vivienne. From her earliest childhood, Vivienne possessed the rare, highly advanced psychological ability to see completely past the terrifying, distorted illusions of Hollywood fame and connect directly to the raw, protective truth of her family structure. This profound emotional resilience became her permanent psychological armor when her entire world fractured wide open during the sudden, earth-shattering 2016 separation of her parents. As the youngest daughter, Vivienne was caught in the absolute, terrifying center of the highly restrictive legal custody agreements, subjected to years of intense psychological scrutiny, family court evaluations, and endless tabloid projections. But while the bitter legal battles raged on in the background, Vivienne was quietly and intensely developing an obsessive, intellectual passion for the performing arts. Specifically, the gritty, non-commercial, and highly demanding world of live musical theater. Unlike the film industry, which relies heavily on high-priced studio public relations, computer graphics, and superficial marketing, live theater requires raw physical discipline endless hours of exhausting rehearsals, and a deep, intellectual comprehension of human character. It was in this strictly creative sanctuary that Vivienne found her true, unedited voice, utilizing the structural, timeless storytelling of theater to internally process the immense emotional chaos and isolation of her adolescent years, the defining turning point that permanently redefined the entire Jolie-Pitt power dynamic occurred in 2023, when Vivienne dragged her mother to a local, intimate theater production of The Outsiders in La Jolla, California. The narrative, a raw, highly emotional tale about chosen brotherhood, fierce family loyalty, and surviving systemic violent conflict, deeply and profoundly resonated with the teenager's internal world. Seeing her daughter's intense, unyielding passion and analytical understanding of the play, Angelina Jolie made the monumental decision to join the project as a lead producer for the official Broadway adaptation in New York City, appointing 15-year-old Vivienne as her official hands-on volunteer assistant producer. Vivienne did not sit in a luxury office, demand special treatment, or hide behind her mother's multi-million-dollar celebrity status. Instead, she stood directly in the gritty trenches of Broadway, attending grueling, day-long production meetings, organizing scripts, working directly with the young, hard-working cast, and earning the genuine, deep respect of veteran theater directors through her tireless work ethic, humility, and sharp artistic instincts. She proved that she was there to learn the craft, not to exploit her lineage. It was during the highly anticipated official launch of this massive Broadway production that Vivienne delivered her most calculated, historic, and permanent blow to the past. When the official playbill and production credits were officially released to the global public and theater critics, the world stopped in its tracks. Listed clearly, cleanly, and unapologetically under the official production team was the name Vivienne Jolie. Without a dramatic press release, a loud, aggressive social media declaration, or a messy public interview designed for tabloid clicks, the youngest daughter had used her professional creative debut to formally and permanently strip the Pitt surname from her identity. It was an absolute masterclass in professional autonomy and adult self-determination. She wasn't just dropping a name in a local, dusty California courthouse. She was permanently engraving her chosen identity into the historical archives of American theater. The ultimate, undeniable validation of Vivienne's strategic brilliance and artistic dedication arrived in June 2024 at the legendary Tony Awards in New York City. Walking the high-profile red carpet alongside her mother, Vivienne stood tall and immensely confident in a sharply tailored, gender-neutral teal vest and trousers, displaying a calm, mature, and fluid elegance that completely captivated international-style critics and fans alike. Later that historic evening, The Outsiders shocked the entire entertainment industry by winning the ultimate crown, the Tony Award for Best Musical. As Angelina and Vivienne stood hand-in-hand on the legendary Broadway stage, surrounded by their emotional creative family, the visual message was crystal clear to millions of viewers worldwide. At just 15 years old, Vivienne had not only bypassed the traditional shallow Hollywood nepo baby trap, she had actively conquered the highest echelons of the theater world strictly on her own artistic terms and through her own hard labor. Vivienne's extraordinary, inspiring journey stands as an undeniable proof that the ultimate victory over a painful past and an inherited trauma is never found in silence or victimhood, but in the relentless, brilliant creation of something beautiful and independent. She completely refused to allow her family's highly publicized trauma to make her fragile or bitter. Instead, she channeled every ounce of her emotional depth into building a Tony Award-winning creative empire. Alongside Maddox, Pax, Shiloh, Zahara, and her twin brother Knox, she has successfully helped construct an absolute, unbreakable matrix of generational independence. From a record-breaking, high-security infant in the south of France to a brilliant, history-making Broadway producer in New York City, Vivienne Jolie has proven to the entire world that you do not need to wait for history to define who you are. Sometimes, the most powerful, revolutionary thing you can ever do is take the center stage, rewrite the script entirely, and claim your own empire with absolute, unyielding, and magnificent grace.